Hello, Patrick. You're up next.
Hey Bart, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear, sir. Where are you calling out of?
I live in New Orleans.
Oh, is this a can from New Orleans too?
Yeah, Harrah's.
I played there a bunch. I used to travel to New Orleans. I've been there like 5 or 6 times. I don't know if they've changed the setup, but their 2-5 game used to be uncapped. I loved it. I've had some massive sessions there back in the day.
Yeah, it gets pretty crazy there. I usually play the 1-3, but it's match the stack. So if you show up late in the day, it's pretty rare that there's not going to be at least a stack of over 1,000.
Everything's
Usually more.
matches, so 1-3 plus is all match the stack, pretty much.
I'm not 100% sure about 2-5, but 1-3 is match the stack. Yeah,
Right. So I'm sure that 2-5 is at least uncapped or match the stack. Is that what this game is? 1-3 match?
1-3. That's right.
And how deep are you?
We are 2,000 effective,
Nice.
so
Nice.
it's a fake 1-3 game.
Yep. Does that mean that people are raising larger, usually pre a little bit?
The average open with no limps is around 15 normally. So
Okay. So like a
yeah,
5x. Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
So we are nine-handed in this hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on the button. And the
Okay.
action's going to start with the main villain, who's under the gun +2.
Okay.
He raises to 15,
Okay.
and then we get a call from the cutoff,
Mm-hmm.
who is probably the best player in the room, and is going to usually do a lot of three betting.
Okay.
And then I have 10-9 of diamonds on the button,
Okay.
and I decide to three bet to 75,
Okay.
and both players call.
So both call. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You're just making it 5x, so it's like 4x plus the dead money. Okay, so both call, and now we're off to like maybe 225 and change.
Yeah, I made it a little bigger than normal just because we're so deep.
Yeah, so I think it's
For what
fine.
it's worth, the cutoff player is also like 2K effective, so all three of us.
Yep.
Yep. So 225, and then the flop comes 10 of hearts, 7 of hearts, 3 of diamonds.
So you flop top pair.
Yeah.
Top pair, a little bit of a backdoor. I'm definitely, if it gets checked to, I'm definitely betting and probably using, somewhat of smaller sizing for protection slash value. That's just if that happens to you here.
Right, right. So what ends up happening is under the gun actually leads for 150,
Okay.
under gun +2, and the cutoff folds.
Okay. So the good player's out.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of history on this guy. So I had only been there for maybe an hour, and I had never played with this guy before. He's an older male, doesn't really play like an OMC. He opens a decent number of hands and is reasonably aggressive. And I had seen him lead into another player earlier with top pair, and ended up overvaluing top pair in that hand. And then I had played one hand with him earlier where I actually flopped top 2 against him and got, I think, 2 streets of value after the run out was a little bit shady.
My only counter to that, my gut reaction here is, yeah, sometimes you'll see people lead top pair or they'll lead like jacks or something, but it's a three-way pot, which that tends to sort of lessen that. Because you had said before, like, yeah, he led into you, but you were probably heads up in that one. So yeah, it's interesting. You said for 150?
150.
I mean, I think the play here is mostly call.
Yeah, so I do call. I'm already kind of not in love with the situation, but I think with the potential to make a bigger hand and the backdoors that I have, I can't really fold.
Right.
So I call.
Mm-hmm. And the turn?
So the turn is the 2 of clubs, a pretty big brick.
Okay.
And UTG +2 bets 200.
Okay. So +2 bets 200. Obviously, I would love to have over pairs here more than 10-9 because you could be accidentally getting value town once in a while by 10, right? I don't think I would, if you call again, though, I wouldn't really expect a bet here, though, again from a 10. You know what I mean? So, like, if you call and call, a lot of times a 10 isn't going to bet again.
Right.
So I assume
Right.
you call.
Yeah, again, I'm still not loving it.
Mm-hmm.
I also realize I don't have a heart in my hand, so that's kind of helpful if he does have a flush draw. So I do call.
Yep. Okay. 925 to the river.
Yep. And then the river is the 6 of clubs.
So the final board is 10-7-3 deuce 6. Front door hearts have busted out. Hero has 10-9 of diamonds, 3-bet. A flat in between, 3-bet the button with 10-9 of diamonds, and then gets this lead here. Okay.
right? So UTG plus two bets 300, and I'm really not loving the situation. Um, I feel like he's going to have a lot of tens that beat me here, especially when I guess his bet size is getting larger, but proportional to the pot, it's less than a third pot. Um, and so I feel like if I call here, I'm going to be losing a lot to hands like King 10, Queen 10, Jack 10.
Yeah, I mean that's debatable. I mean it's such a small bet. I know what you're saying. Also, 8-9 comes in too. I'm not saying that he would necessarily have that here. You actually should probably have that more than he should, because he shouldn't be calling with a guy calling in between. I'm saying that's a losing play. I'm not saying that he might not show up with it, but 8-9 opening 8-9 suit from +2 and then defending to a 3-bet with a guy in between that's likely to call is a losing play. You should probably have more 9-8 here than he does. You have a 10-9, so I'm not overly concerned about 8-9, especially with this type of sizing, the way that it went down. But you're concerned that he's just going to roll over like King 10, Ace 10, and you're gonna. So you're just saying you're gonna. What would you do with like jacks, queens, kings, or aces here if played this way?
That's a good question. I think I would consider raising small for value. Although the board run out, in that case, I wouldn't really block the nuts like I do here. And so I might be a little bit more concerned about the board run out. But if you bet small enough, I think it might be reasonable to raise to a small size, like maybe like if you bet 300, maybe raising to like something small, 650 or 700 for value.
Someone's also saying that is it possible that he could have like jacks here? Yeah, that's possible. My only concern here, because it sounds to me like you're thinking about raising here as a bluff. My only concern here is that the line is taken so infrequently. Like if you raise and like say you jam, I mean you're basically saying you have 8-9, right? And that's fine. My only concern here is that it's so I don't know. I'm not sure if you're going to get the result that you want if a guy has a 10. Now, I'm not saying I would get here like with this guy's line, right, with a 10. I think it's borderline a little bit ridiculous. It's also, but if someone does have a 10, that means you don't have 10s, 3 10s, even though we talked about the nuts change with 8-9. I usually don't go out on a limb and take this hand that has some showdown value against draws and bluff with it. I kind of, although it looks like the chat is disagreeing with me, I kind of would call here more often than do what it sounds like you're thinking about doing here.
Yeah. So the main reason, this is my first call in, and the main reason I called in was because sometimes I wonder whether I'm a victim of like fancy play syndrome, or whether it's actually reasonable to do crazy things like this. And so, yeah, in this case, I just felt like I was going to be good so rarely, with my kicker. And so I decided to raise. I actually raised to 1,000, turning top pair into a bluff, which I don't know if I've ever done before.
So you don't just jam all in. You make it look, and you're just, again, like if you had played aces or kings this way and you wanted to raise the river, what kind of sizing would you use?
So I think exploitatively, I probably would go a little bit smaller. And I don't know if I'm completely balanced in that way, but I did want to make it a little bit more value appearing than just jamming all in. And also I figured if he does have Queen 10 or Jack 10, King 10, and he's ever going to fold those hands, then I think a raise to 1,000 should accomplish the same amount as a jam, I would think.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think the whole reason why you raise here is because of sometimes the property of your hands and the fact that he doesn't have 8-9. I mean, now when he goes 300 and you make it 1,000, the pot's going to be what, 22, 25, and it's going to be 700 for him to call. So he's going to getting 3-1, and you think he's going to fold out a 10 here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the sizing is, even though I probably wouldn't choose to make it huge and rep like this as a bluff with top pair that often. I do think if you want to do that, I think this might be too small sizing though to get what you want. I mean, obviously there are times, right, in live poker where we can raise a smaller amount and get the exact same thing that we want. It makes no sense, right, to raise larger, but I don't know if that's one of these times though.
Right. No, that's fair. I guess in terms of like the properties of my hand, I thought it was a decent candidate just because I don't have any hearts. I have a nine and I block the nuts, and then I also block like top set, which I don't know if he would ever lead top set into two other players, but yeah, I went for it.
Okay, and what happened?
He called pretty quickly. He kind of gave that like, well, it is what it is. Look, took like 5 seconds and then
Did
called.
he have a set of like sevens or something?
No, he had ace 10.
Oh,
And
called
he had
pretty quickly, huh?
his ace 10 offsuit with the ace of hearts as well, which I didn't think was great for him to have there.
It would have been interesting if you had raised all in, though, how that would have changed, or raised to a larger amount. I mean, you had a bunch of money left, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I
you
had
would
like
have made it, what,
another.
1800 or something, all in?
I think I had another maybe 500 or 550 left,
Oh, so
so
it would have been
maybe
to
like
like 1600.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the
but
size, man, especially like the whole all in. You know what I mean?
right.
When,
Yeah,
whenever a lot of people aren't putting their whole money in here. But I probably would have called more often than done that, which,
just
yeah.
you think it was a small enough bet size where I'm good enough, like often
Yeah,
enough
I
to
think
cover?
I think so. I mean, it sucks that you've got 10-9. I mean, where's the cutoff, right? What do you call with king 10, queen 10, jack 10?
Wait, sorry, what'd you say?
What if you had queen 10? What if you had king 10? What if you had jack 10?
I think that'd make a difference because then I wouldn't block the nuts with the nine, and I would also be beating some of those weaker hands. Like if I had queen 10, I'd at least be beating 10 jack and chopping with queen 10. And
Right, but you say you block the nuts because you have a 9, but if he's not supposed to be in there with 9-8 suited, is that relevant?
uh, that's why it might be fancy play syndrome.
Okay. I just throwing it all out there. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.